Well, welcome to our first live session. It is 6:30 Central Standard Time, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I realize that there are some people that might be still coming in, but I want to make sure to respect everyone's time who is here. So as I get started, I just want to do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
And can everyone see the PowerPoint okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So at this time, I would ask you to mute your microphones to cut down on the background noise, unless there's no, if you guys don't have children in the background, you probably can mute it, or you don't need to mute it if you don't want to. But anytime you want to participate, just unmute it for the conversation, any questions that I might ask as we continue. So, well, here is, welcome to our first live session. So, and this is kind of an overview of what the live sessions will look like. We will have welcome and introductions, and then we will get to know each other a little bit by talking about a little bit about each other and just a little bit of an icebreaker. I'll go over live classroom expectations, scoring rubrics, submitting assignments, exploration assignment expectations, review of the APA guide, excuse me, the whole child animation review, and then we will end with state licensing rule discussion. So yeah, that is kind of the overview tonight. Kind of have a lot to talk about. So I am going to continue on. So I just want to share a little bit about myself, and then I want to hear a little bit about you guys. So I'm originally from a small farm town in northeastern North Dakota. I'm a graduate from the University of North Dakota. I graduated with a bachelor's degree where I majored in history, but later I decided to pursue a degree in early childhood education. Excuse me. So after graduation, I moved from Grand Forks, where I was living, to Denver, Colorado, and I pursued a degree in ECE. I got my master's degree in early childhood education. Since then, I've worked for the public and private sectors as a teacher and a director for the last 12 years, and I've also worked in the public schools as a special needs paraeducator. And then 4 or 5 years ago, yeah, I received my early master's degree in early childhood education, kind of in an online classroom setting to this, which is really similar. And I currently am an education supervisor for a Head Start program in Denver Metro. I do have a passion for working with children and families that are privileged. One day I want to go back to school to pursue my doctoral degree, but in early childhood education, but it's not going to be anytime soon, since I have a little 3-year-old daughter myself who needs my attention all the time. So basically, my favorite toy as a child, so just, you know, with brief introduction, sorry, my introduction's a little long-winded. Basically, my favorite toy as a child was a My Buddy doll, because kind of funny reason, I wanted to have blonde hair because all of my friends had blonde hair and blue eyes, and I wanted to fit in with them to be accepted. Kind of a silly reason, but so yeah, that's a little bit about me. Now I'm just going to open up to the conversation and invite each of you to introduce yourselves. Please share your name, state, type of degree you're pursuing, and what your favorite toy was as a child and why. If you're reviewing this recording, make sure that you answer the same questions to in paragraph form. So I want to hear about everybody.
I guess I'll go.
All right.
My name is Catherine. I currently live in the state of Vermont. I am pursuing an associate's in early childhood education, and I want to focus on special needs. I guess I'll just delve a little bit into that. I do have a 5-year-old little girl who was born premature, so I dealt with a lot of things with her, which kind of led me into a special needs field, because currently I work as a DSP, which is a direct support professional for the developmentally and physically handicapped. My favorite toy growing up, probably, it's a little silly, but it's earmuffs that my dad gave me. He used to take me to his mill growing up in the paper industry for his paychecks and just to say hi to his buddies and stuff. So I used to play with those all the time. I couldn't go anywhere, ride in the car without them or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
So can I ask you a quick question, Catherine?
Sure.
How premature was your daughter? My daughter was also premature.
Absolutely. She was born at 30 weeks one day.
Wow. That's pretty close to my daughter. My daughter was born 30 weeks 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing and welcome.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go next. Hi, my name is Crystal. I live in the state of Minnesota. I am going for my, kind of just like Catherine there, I'm going for my associate's degree in early education. Unlike Catherine, I don't currently work in the field right now. Been at Walmart, kind of worked up the ladder. I'm a store manager right now. About a month ago, was kind of sitting down and kind of thinking what my future had for me and kind of what I really wanted to do growing up. And kind of made the decision that I wanted to get back into school and kind of pursue early education. It was kind of always a passion growing up. I have a younger sister by me by 3 years, and I always teach her school. And when I would come back home from school, and she would just absolutely love it. Favorite toy growing up was probably my mom's Barbie. She kept a lot of her childhood toys, so we had the opportunity to be able to play with those, and it was great bonding time for me and my sister to be able to have.
Very nice. Crystal, where in Minnesota do you live?
I currently live in Plymouth, Minnesota. Grew up in a small town of 1,000 people, though, so kind of similar to yours, a lot of farmland around me.
Yep. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing and welcome.
I can go next, I suppose. I can't tell if I'm actually going through.
You are. I could hear you perfectly fine, Megan.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. My name is Megan. I'm from Alabama, but I currently live in Minnesota. My husband is from here, so we're living up here. I am pursuing my associates in early education as well. Currently, I'm working as a lead preschool teacher at the center that my children go to. It's kind of cool. I actually get to be one of my kids' teachers. My favorite toy would have to be an old G.I. Joe. My dad was, he's retired military now, but it was one of those, it would remind me of him. So it was kind of, it's still kind of super special to me. So.
Well, thank you, Megan, for sharing and welcome to the course. One quick question for you. How do you like the winters in Minnesota? That's what I thought.
Yeah, not so much.
A little bit different than Alabama, huh?
A lot. By a lot.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Okay, I guess I'll go. My name is Natasha. I live in Illinois. I am currently going for my associate's degree and hopefully to go for my bachelor's degree in early childhood development. And my favorite toy would have to be a bike because you can just go anywhere on that thing.
That's awesome. You can go anywhere and you could ride it and you could use it as an adult, which is great. Thank you for sharing, Natasha. It looks like Eva, it looks like you're on, but you're not connected to the audio. Well, I'm going to continue on. Welcome everybody. Kind of gives everybody a little bit of idea of who everyone is, where they're from, what they're pursuing in, and what their favorite toy was as a child and why. I see that Eva, can you hear me? I don't know. Eva, can you hear me? All right. I'm just going to continue. Welcome, Eva. I know that Eva is just joined us, so I'm going to continue on because we do have a lot of stuff to cover tonight. So let's continue. So checking in. So how are things going so far? Are you guys able to navigate through the course and the modules and the discussions and pretty much all of Blackboard? What are your guys' thoughts? Have you guys, my biggest suggestion, especially being an online learner too, is to practice and play around with Blackboard. If you're not familiar with it, sometimes our best teacher is ourselves, especially with an online course. You really do have to be self-motivated and have to really, really learn by making sure that you know where different resources are throughout Blackboard. So just want to open it up. How is everybody? How's it going so far? Is it somewhat easy, a little challenging, a little bit of both?
I personally think that it's easy to navigate, and I really like that I can break down the calendar and kind of see both the classes that I'm taking all on one format. That really helps me because I'm a planner and I kind of need to see that in front of me.
Sure. And I don't know if you guys have I don't know if you guys are taking CBE courses as well, but just note that CBE courses are a little bit different than they're different than the Blackboard format. The CBE courses, basically you have 12 weeks to submit assignments. This is a 5.5-week course. It goes really, really quick. If you guys have barriers, assignments that it's going to be late, something, I understand life does come up, reach out to me so I could, so I know what's going on, so I could possibly give you an extension if you don't meet a deadline. I try to be fair to everyone when it comes to stuff like that, but I also want to make sure that I also follow the policy that the college has as well. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are in CBE too as well, CBE courses, but please note that, yeah, that's a completely different format. Sometimes I get students that are in CBE courses and Blackboard courses, and they get a little confused on the platforms. Anyone else? Hi, Catherine.
I was just going to say that I think that you're correct. I think that when I have some downtime and I actually try to navigate through on my own, I'm actually learning a lot more than per se reading a detailed description of how to do it step by step, which is also helpful, but I think trial and error works best for me, and I've learned to navigate that way quite quickly.
Well, that's good to hear, Catherine. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, a lot of times trial and error is, it's just like doing lesson plans with children. Sometimes, you know, you got to find out what works and what doesn't work. So I'm glad that you are taking that initiative and doing that. Anyone else? All right. Hearing and seeing that there is nobody. Oh, was somebody going to talk? Sorry if I cut somebody off.
Okay, I was just gonna say I'm transferred. I just transferred from the school from a different school, and it's kind of a little bit. It was still a Blackboard format. It's set up a little bit differently than my other schools, so it's just a little bit of getting used to where things are and how they are. And I really love the calendar. I discovered that yesterday, and that has been. I was super excited about that actually.
Yes, the calendar is kind of like your Bible. That tells you the specific due dates and everything that you need to know when everything is due by, which is good. Anybody else? All right. I don't want to cut anybody off. So I'm going to continue and kind of go over the live classroom expectations. So it's expected that everybody makes an effort to attend the live sessions and participate. If you all are talking for tonight's live session and taking the time to be part of the live session, you will get all points. So everybody that's on it now, I just make sure that everybody goes through the whole live session because, you know, it's just kind of a fairness thing. So it is expected that you make every effort to attend the live session and participate. I do appreciate you all taking the time to be in tonight's live session. If you ever cannot attend a live session, because I understand that people have different schedules, different time zones, the video will be the video in the live session will be posted the next day, and then you could respond to all the questions that I asked during the live session in order to receive full credit. It's kind of just easier to be a part of the live session, I think, because I have usually quite a bit of questions, and I need it to be in the paragraph form. So yeah, it's a little bit easier that way. But if you are present at our live session, yeah, just please continue to contribute to the class conversations to receive full credit. Our next live classroom session will be Tuesday, May 28th. As you can see that we have, and they're all at 6:30 Central Standard Time, so make sure, especially if you live in a different time zone, that you make sure it's in Central Time. So so there's 3 sessions that are offered. There's one in 2, another one in 4, and then another one in 5. And you know, you guys are doing a good job so far, just interacting in the sessions and having that open dialogue. So yeah, that's a little bit about the classroom expectations and when they are offered. The scoring rubric. So all assignments are graded based on a rubric. I just want to make sure that you guys all know how to access the rubric so you can make sure that you meet all the criteria before submitting an assignment. To view the rubric for each assignment, click on the assignment title under the assignment tab in each module. Towards the upper left side, you will see a box with the total points possible listed. And then in that box, under the total points, there will be a button that says View Rubric. By clicking on that button, a new window will open with the scoring rubric. Just be sure that use the rubrics to your advantage to ensure that you receive the most possible points for each assignment. Please note that there is no rubric attached for the discussions. However, if you create a substantial post that answers the prompt questions and respond to any question that I ask, and respond to at least 2 peers with concise paragraphs to extend their learning, then you will usually receive full credit. I try to respond to every single person, but I see that I have like 36 students in this class, so if I don't respond to you, don't take it offensive. This means that you probably answered everything that you needed to. So yeah, so it's a little bit about the scoring rubrics. Do you guys have any questions? All right, hearing and seeing no questions, I'm going to continue on. Submitting assignments. I just want to take a moment to review the assignment submission. In order to submit an assignment, click on the assignment under the assignment tab in each module. Scroll down towards the bottom and select the file from your computer that you would like to submit and select open. Be sure to click the submit button once you have uploaded your assignment. Sometimes I get students that don't click the submit button, but they have it in there. So just make sure that you guys actually do submit it. And then, you know, please note that there is a 10% deduction for each day that an assignment is late. You could see the course calendar for all due dates, which I see that a lot of you guys have already viewed the calendar. One advantage to submitting assignments early is that if you do submit an assignment before the due date and get a low grade on it, I will let you via course messages have an option to redo the assignment for a better grade by the due date. But that being said, you need to make sure that you reach out to me if you want to redo an assignment because a lower grade if you do submit it early. If you do not, let me know that you need to resubmit. You want to resubmit assignment. I'm going to think that that's the grade that you want, and no questions are asked, and I just keep going forward. Any questions with submitting assignments? All right, hearing and seeing that there is no questions, I'm going to keep going. Remember, if you guys have any questions, we will have time to ask questions at the end of the live session too as well. So in module 2 through 6, you will submit an exploration assignment. This assignment is due by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sundays. In this assignment, you will view several videos and answer 3 open-ended questions about the videos. So just make sure to take your time to thoroughly read the instructions and review the rubrics, as you will have the same format exploration assignments each week with different videos each week. One of the biggest errors that I see students make on the assignments is not providing an aha moment in question 3. In this question, I'm not looking for your favorite part of a video or what you liked. I just want you to share a new perspective or insight you gained from the video. Your answer to each question should be about a paragraph long with specific reference to the videos. This is just an opportunity to practice your observation skills as well as apply the book knowledge you are learning in the course into the everyday classroom experience. Each week we'll have a different key area of focus that will be presented in the videos and that you will reflect upon. So for this week you will be looking at DAP, developmentally appropriate practices. You guys still with me? It's a lot of information, I know.
You said this was going to be available too afterwards, right, Mike?
Say that one more time.
The video is going to be available afterwards as well, correct?
Yes, I will post it the next day, just so everybody has a chance to view the live recording, and then whoever didn't watch the video, that's their time to, you know, they could answer the questions that I'm pretty much asking you guys. And it is also, it's just you guys could take a look at it and you could review the recording too as well if you think you missed something. So yeah, but it won't be available till tomorrow usually.
All right, yeah, I'm just curious because a lot of it will be coming at us, so I just want to make sure that I can review it if I need to as well.
Yep, sure can. Any other questions? All right. Hearing and seeing that there's no questions, I'm going to keep moving on. Going to talk a little bit about the APA guide. So to ensure consistency and precision for students and instructors, Rasmussen College has chosen APA style as the standard documentation and citation style to be used in all the courses. The APA style provides for clear references in the text and at the end of the document. By using APA as the common style in our classes and assignments, Rasmussen seeks to streamline the documentation component of the important information literacy process. If you are unfamiliar with the APA guidelines, you can check out Rasmussen's APA guide in the Blackboard. From the home page, click on the far right tab on the top of your screen that says resources, and then in the center column you will see library resources, and the fourth link down says APA guide. Click on this link and it will open Rasmussen APA Reference Center that has all the information you need on APA formatting. You can use the menu on the left side of the screen to jump to the specific APA formatting information that you need. So it kind of gives you basically step-by-step of what you need to do and how you need to find it. Because there are going to be some assignments that will require APA formatting for your papers. So that is basically all kind of like the resources, expectations. I know some of you guys are probably new to school. Some of you probably, like I know some of you guys said that you transferred. You know, everybody's at different ages and stages in different paths of their career and with schooling. So just make sure to reach out to me if you have any questions. And this is a lot of information, but you know, like I said, you could take you could review the recording too later too as well. Any questions? All right. Let's dive into something that is fun. Follow up from the whole child animation. So there was an activity in your lesson content folder from Module 2 where you can see how all the developmental domains function together. If you haven't done so already, read about the whole child on the first slide, and then you could click the arrow button on the right side of the slideshow to go to the next slide. As early educators, early childhood educators and advocates must view children from a holistic perspective. Children function and learn multiple developmental domains. The concept of the whole child is extremely important in early childhood education. If you did have any, if you guys have done this already, do you have any takeaways from the childhood animation activity? And it's okay if you didn't do it already, because the week did just start, so. So, hearing silence means you probably, oh, somebody's going to talk. Crystal, hi. Hello.
I don't know how to do that. My thing's still on mute. Sorry, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, if you guys, once you get to it, just make sure that you take some time to do it if you haven't already.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
This is a Module 2 assignment?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I'm taking notes.
It's a Module 2 activity. It's not something.
Okay.
It's not an actual assignment that you actually have to do per se, but it's something that it'll be beneficial to you, just to actually do the activity, which doesn't take very long.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Yep. So there are several domains that every individual needs to learn and grow. Typically, children and adults alike have one or two domains that they excel at naturally. At each developmental age and stage, children develop a new skill set in each domain. As educators, it's really important that we include all the domains in our teaching practices in order to help the whole child develop. Although educators normally tend to focus on cognitive, intellectual development, every other area, such as physical and social emotional development, is important, especially when working with children, because each skill does go kind of hand in hand. For example, a child who does excel in intellectual development might not struggle with learning new concepts, sorting, letter sounds, etc., but might have trouble making friends. So, there kind of does go hand in hand. I think, that is why it's really imperative as early educators that we focus on the whole child and provide opportunities for children who do struggle with different developmental domains. With that being said, what are your strongest domains? What are the ones you find the most challenging? How does the concept of the whole child fit with your knowledge of early childhood education, and how do you support each child? How do you support each child's growth and development? I know my strongest domain would be probably physical development, because I am very good at hand-eye coordination, and I'm really active. Sometimes one of the hardest things is for me is I'm kind of an introvert. I have a hard time trying to express my feelings, and just like children, if you can't express themselves, people could be frustrated and withdrawn. So it kind of goes hand in hand. So I want to hear from you guys. What is your strongest domains? What's your weakest ones, and how does the concept fit with the whole child? What you know of your knowledge of ECE?
Okay, I'll go.
All right, go ahead, Catherine.
So I'm a little bit of the opposite of you, as you can probably already tell. I am more of a social, emotional kind of person. So I excel at conversations, talking about my emotions, being empathetic or sympathetic. However, I do kind of lack in the atmosphere of hand-eye coordination. I'm kind of klutzy. I tend to be a little over-emotional because I am so sensitive. So at least I am self-aware of that kind of stuff, so I can use that for a child that is similar to me. And I think that I'll be able to empathize with children's emotions a lot easier than someone that lacks in the social emotional atmosphere.
Awesome. Well, that's good that you have that. You recognize that for one, and that you could provide those techniques to the kiddos that are more like you too. So, thank you for sharing, Catherine. Anybody else?
I would have to say my strongest domain would have to be the intellectual. I'm really good at puzzles and just kind of like looking at the situation and figuring out how to fix it and stuff. The one that I find most challenging would have to be the social of it, because I'm more of a quiet kind of, I'll talk to you if you talk to me kind of thing, but if not, I like the corner.
You're kind of like me. I'm an introvert, so I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and this is why I work with children too, not adults. I think with me being an intellectual learner, a lot of like the kids' problems, I can go through with them and talk about it and all that stuff. Kind of like see it, like there's more than one way to fix a situation. And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Natasha.
I'm going to apologize in advance. I have my children are still awake, so you might hear them in the background. I would also say that I'm kind of the opposite of you. I am more of a social, emotional. I like to talk, and I can continue to talk, but they can also connect on a more emotional level. One thing I would have to say that I think I hope and I think that I'm pretty darn good at is being able to see sometimes like the kiddos, they don't understand their emotions and they don't know what they're feeling, and you can see those triggers. And I feel like I'm doing really good at being able to identify those and being able to help them out. But then on the opposite end is I am not very good with the hand-eye coordination. We tried playing volleyball today, and I can tell you how many times I got smacked in the head. I'm a klutz when it comes to the physical, but I feel like I do excel when it comes to the social, emotional, and understanding and being the sympathetic, empathetic, helping the children work through their emotions and how can we get through that emotion, and helping them identify their emotions too.
That's awesome. That is great. I think that you seems like you build positive relationships with your children, which makes them very secure in their learning, emotionally. So I feel like that is a great strength to have for that developmental domain. Thanks for sharing.
I kind of fit in with both Megan and Catherine in the terms where I'm opposite of you. On a social, I'm outgoing. I kind of have to be kind of in what I'm doing. But then on the opposite side, when it's my day off, I just kind of want to haul up and kind of keep that corner to myself. But I'm very definitely in touch with my emotions and kind of being able to see what somebody needs without them being able to see it. Kind of definitely is one of my strong points.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing, Crystal. Anyone else? All right. Hearing and seeing that nobody else has anything else to add with this, I am going to move on to the last thing of the night. So the favorite topic of state licensing and how it's critical to child safety. So state licensing rules, as you guys all probably know, we're working with children, are very critical to child safety. And I want you all to share a licensing regulation in your state that stood out to you. I did, I don't know if you guys read the announcements or listened to my video. One of the things I did ask for you guys to come prepared tonight is to share a licensing regulation that your state has that stood out to you. I could share one first. In Colorado, one regulation that stands out to me right now is staff to child ratios. Some of the staff-child ratios I personally think are too high to provide individualized quality care and attention. So I'm going to pick on the infant ratio that we have here in Colorado. That is probably one of the highest in the nation, which is not a good thing. So with our state licensing regulations and rules, it says that we need for 6 weeks to 18 months, 1 staff member to 5 infants, which I feel is a little bit too high, because I just don't think you could give quality care to 5 infants when you only have 1 staff. Now, if there was 2 staff in there with 5 infants, that would probably be a lot more doable, just because different infants have different schedules and feeding schedules, sleeping schedules, and whatnot. So I do think it's really, really high. And one of the things, living in Colorado, that I really do want to change is to go to the legislative and talk to the government a little bit about if they could ever lower that, because it doesn't give quality care to this just doesn't give quality care, I feel, when you have only 1 staff to 5 infants. And then a lot of times you could have 2 staff to 10 infants, which I feel is ridiculous. But so yeah, I mean, I've actually, as a director, I've seen a lot of bad things go wrong just because there's just so many infants and so many different things to take care of. There was a time where I actually had to terminate an employee because they gave the wrong breast milk to one of the infants because they looked alike. So I mean, there's just different things, and it's just not a good thing to have. So I mean, I feel like, yeah, personally, the ratio, I mean, when the toddlers get older and children get older, like, I think that we have mixed age groups from 2.5 to 6 years of age. It's like a 1 to 10 ratio. I could see that being a little bit more doable, but the infant ratio here in Colorado is a little bit too high. So that's just my thoughts and my opinions. I know that a lot of child care centers try to enroll as much as possible. A lot of for-profit companies, but I don't know if they understand that having that many infants in one classroom is really beneficial, unless you have like 3 staff to 10 infants, or 2 staff at least, or 3 staff to even 6. But yeah, 1 to 5 is just way too high. So this is going to open it up for conversation. I just kind of want to hear from you guys of what you guys thought with your state licensing rules that's critical to child safety. Anything that you saw that stood out to you in your states?
I just want to say that I agree with you, Michael. I feel like I should also have in there the number depending on the the behavioral of the kids too, because at my child care center we just have these groups of kids and they are very difficult on your own, just with their different behaviorals and attitudes and all that stuff.
What age do you work with, Natasha?
I've actually been in every room in the center. I've been with babies to school age, and there always seems like there's 1 or 2 that likes to be mischievous and stuff. So I feel like with that and the numbers you have, it kind of takes away from the other kids' learning.
Sure, definitely. And if you're not completely trained on how to deal with specific guidance of challenging behaviors, or if they're on an IEP, or if they are possibly even on the spectrum or something, and you don't know about it, it's hard to deal with, especially if you don't have that knowledge of what's going on.
Yes, we've had, since I started 7 years ago, we've had 5 kids leave because of behavioral issues in the classroom.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
We have kind of a funny regulation over here in Vermont.
What?
I kind of wanted to point out. I'm not quite sure if it pertains to anyone in Minnesota or not, but we have a lot of issues with lead in our water here. A lot of issues. A lot of people have well water. A lot of in-home daycares, they run off of the supply from their well and all that kind of stuff. So actually, when I was going through the stuff a while back, I was going to find something that pertained to the children and at risk with this, that, and the other thing, kind of similar to your ratios. But when I came across this, I literally had to say, I'm going to talk about this because it actually states through what I had written down that we actually have to have a test through the Vermont Water Supply Company. And that no one is to be drinking out of any of the water without having these results met by Vermont standards.
Interesting.
And you can actually get your license pulled if you are found. So if if one of your children gets out and drinks from the, from the hose like we all did growing up, that's a violation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was kind of, it's important. Obviously, you don't want your kids drinking lead-infested water, but at the same time, it's just a little bit quirky here.
That's really interesting that you you mentioned that. I have never heard anything like that. I know we have radon tests that are done for our buildings here in Colorado, but I never heard anything about the lead in the water. So that is very interesting that you found that and shared. Do you know why there's so much lead in the water?
You know, I've done a little bit of digging, and actually my mother's from here. So when I did some research, I talked to her, and she said that's the way it's just always been over here on the East Coast. Anywhere, which way you go, there's the same kind of issue, and you know the whole New England area. It's just kind of, it's an important thing that, I mean, they do a lot of testing with that, even through like women and infants and children, like the WIC community. They do lead testing for all that kind of stuff. And you can actually, because my daughter was a preemie, I can actually have someone come out here free of charge and check my water.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's a big thing out here. So not really understanding why or how it originated, but I can look it up.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have hard water here, so like if I live in Commerce City, Colorado, and our dishes after being washed by the dishwasher, they have these mad stains on it, just these thick stains, and it's just like, well, it doesn't even look like it's been washed, but because it's really hard water and the calcium buildup, which is nasty. I don't drink any of the tap water. I buy all my water through have bottled water just because.
Right, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
One that we have here in Minnesota that I don't know if other states have, but we have a safe sleep standards and training requirements that people within the child care community have to go through. They have to have an hour training due to the increase of death within the kids, the sudden infant deaths.
Yes. Yeah. Do you guys usually have a provider that comes out to you that does it, or is it like a more of an online training?
It's more of an online training where the staff providers, as well as the caregivers and volunteers, they have to go and they have to go through that training. It's done online, and it takes about like an hour training that they have to do at least once a year for that piece of it.
Nice. Yeah, we do something a little bit. We do something very similar to that, where it is an hour training. Because sometimes we have 2-year-olds, and we serve 2.5 to 5-year-old. We have to take that training because it's anywhere from 0 to 3 in the licensing standard, which is silly, but at the same time, you know, they just need to make sure that we cover all our bases. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Crystal. Anyone else? Give you guys a little bit more time to think about it. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that come to mind when it does come to licensing and state standards, licensing and making sure that children are safe. I think the one biggest thing to do is just to ensure that you guys are always looking at your licensing rule book from the state, so you know what changes are happening throughout the year, and making sure that whatever changes that you guys have, which your center director will probably let you know of any changes, and just being trained on those changes going forward. Especially if you work in different classrooms, there's just all sorts of different licensing requirements and different regulations for different ages, which, you know, you just get more diverse with no, going into different classrooms and, serving children of different ages. Does anybody have anything else before we close out for the night on state standards or state licensing in what's critical to child safety? All right, so somebody has their volume up.
I don't know if this is in every center, but we have certain numbers on going out, like outings.
Like field trips?
Yeah, like going on field trips or going swimming or...
That might be a program. I don't know. It could be a state standard or state licensing regulation, but I know a lot of times that like we have a Head Start policy where we can't take any field trips unless there's like permission slips and stuff. But as far as the frequency and stuff, I think usually that depends on your actual company or your center that you work for. Usually.
Like the number of children per staff, like when you go out, like on a trip?
Oh, like the ratio for the children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think the ratio for the children, I mean, there's the state standard, and then you might have a program standard. So if the state standard says that you can't have any more than 10 children with you, but you have to abide by that requirement or a requirement that is even less than that. So that falls into that. You can't go over. Usually you can't go over that, especially if you're on a field trip, because that does violate the code. Does that make sense, Natasha?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? All right. So I know you guys have been asking questions on and off throughout the live session, but if you have any questions, make sure to you could text me, you could email me. Emailing me, I might not get to it right away because I do have a full-time job being a supervisor for a Head Start program, so I might not get to that right away, but I usually get to your guys' questions within 24 hours. If it's a text message, I'll probably get it within a few hours at the very most, depending on if it's a question about a grade or something. I usually will get back to you when I'm by my computer. If I have my text, I could say I'm not at my computer, but I will get back to you when I am back onto my computer. So if you are viewing this recording online, just make sure that you answer all the questions that I have asked for the other students. If you have participated in this live session, I know who you are because I can see everybody who is online. So thank you for everyone who has participated. I do really appreciate you guys participating. So that wraps it up. If you guys don't have any questions, just type your name in the chat box. That just tells me confirmation that you were here and that you participated and that you're still here from the beginning. Yeah, as always, just feel free to shoot me off an email or a text if you have any questions. Thanks, ladies.